some of the issues that were prevalent 12 years ago that in many respects haven't really gone away in Colombia today.
Well, this is just a short clip of the now slain FARC commander Raúl Reyes in 1996.
For peace, there has to be a policy that comes from the state. That means there has to be guarantees for the insurgency to sit with the government and to discuss about the new Colombia we should all construct. Right now, there are no guarantees. Right now, continued threats against the leaders of the guerrilla movements, the proliferation of murderers and massacres continues.
That is, well, the now slain FARC commander, Raúl Reyes. I wanted to ask you, Mario, a high-placed official in the Colombian Defense Ministry said on condition of anonymity it was the U.S. intelligence agency that first told Bogota several weeks ago that Reyes was sporadically using a satellite phone whose signal could be pinpointed.
There's no doubt. I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, we still got to wait a little bit before we get more details as to the way this operation unfolded. A cross-border operation. We should continue reminding people that it was a cross-border incursion by the Colombian government. But it's eerily reminiscent of what happened in 1993 when the Colombian forces, with the United States intelligence assistance and direct cooperation, killed the leader of the Medellin cartel at the time, Pablo Escobar, who was a fugitive from justice at the time. And what we see right now in 2008 is a process where the U.S. military assistance, 8 years of Plan Colombia, 6 years of Uribe's total war carried out against the FARC, and a real stepped-up improvement in the communications technology that the Colombian armed forces are using, resulting in this kind of attack, leading to the death of Raúl Reyes. It would be hard to imagine that this kind of cross-border incursion could have occurred without the knowledge, without the understanding of the United States, especially given the large presence that the U.S. has, particularly in the southern part of the country. The military assistance that the United States has directed has been presented as a counter-narcotics aid package, over $5 billion over the last 8 years in Plan Colombia. But there's no doubt that it has been really geared towards attacking the guerrillas. It's been a counterinsurgency aid assistance package that continues to maintain the same levels that it did even in 1999 and 2000 when Plan Colombia first started.
Mario, I wanted to go to Helga Serrano. She's an Ecuadorian activist with the International Network for the Abolition of Foreign Military Bases, called No Bases. What is the response in Ecuador to this cross-border raid by the Colombian troops that killed the FARC commander, Helga?
Thank you for the call. We are outraged in Ecuador. We cannot imagine that our country, that is a neighbor, and that we have about 500,000 Colombians here, which our country has received in solidarity because they have been displaced because of the conflict of the war in Colombia, and that President Uribe pays us like this by bombing our country, by being a puppet to the Bush administration, by using military bases like the Tres Esquinas in Colombia to carry out the attack. And we are asking, demanding an investigation to see if the base in Manta was also used in this attack. We are outraged. We are having a big demonstration Thursday, March 6th at 6 in the afternoon. There are demonstrations already going on yesterday. There will be another one today. And many organizations are supporting President Correa's position. He's got a very firm position. And we are demanding, once again, the closure of these military bases, which we feel are the structure from which these kind of activities are carried out.
We're also joined by Arlene Tickner, who's a professor of international affairs at University of Los Andes in Bogota. The response inside Colombia, Professor Tickner.
Unfortunately, the response has been full support of President Uribe. The case is being presented as a justified incursion into Ecuadorian territory in pursuit of terrorist groups that haven't been persecuted by the Ecuadorian government. This is basically the position of the government, and as I say, both the media and opposition parties have also fully supported the decision of the government to present the case in this way.
Mario Murillo, we're going to go back to you and end with you. With the troops on the border now, Ecuador sending troops to the border with Colombia and Venezuela, what is the possibility of open conflict?
I think that's less a possibility. I hope I'm wrong in this assertion. I think the bigger problem is the consolidation of what's going on right now with Uribe. Uribe, as our previous speaker just said, is 83 percentage point popularity in terms of this action or support of this action, and it comes just a few days before this massive mobilization that's taking place on March 6th. This big mobilization to call to question the impunity and the double standard of quote-unquote human rights, democracy, and justice in Colombia. A massive mobilization to call into question the relationship between the Colombian government and paramilitary forces in the country that has been responsible for the vast majority of the displacements, the vast majority of the human rights abuses that have gone on in Colombia for the last 20 years or so. Uribe now, with this action that has taken place, with the killing of Raul Reyes and the international kind of uproar that's occurred, it's made it as if this March 6th mobilization against the paramilitaries, against the Uribe administration, is going to be almost like having a homecoming parade on the first day of spring break at a university. Nobody's going to be paying attention because of the level of the propaganda success of this operation against Raul Reyes.
We have to leave it there, and I thank you all for being with us. Mario Murillo's book is called Colombia and the United States, War, Terrorism, and Destabilization. Helga Serrano joining us from Quito, Ecuador, and Professor Arlene Tickner joining us from Colombia, from Bogota. That does it for our show. Democracy Now! Produced by Mike Berkshire, Abdel Kadus, Aaron Mate, Angela Kamachev, Hagerman, Steve Martinez, Robbie Karen. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.